America is obviously broken. Being that successful woman, acting and producing real estate, and I know you've been on SNL and you've
Yes.
been, and by the way, Netflix, was it Netflix or Amazon? They just did like an SNL, keep sustaining a $36 trillion debt on the United States and sustain that forever. Focus on hitting your goals in every area of your business. Remember, the universe rewards the bold. A leader has to take the risks. You know what? I'm close. I'm in Rancho Cucamonga, so you're in LA, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. And have you lived out in Southern California your whole life?
I have not. I am from New York.
Okay, all right. And so what part of New York?
So I grew up in Westchester County, which is about 20 minutes north of Manhattan. My father was from the Bronx, New York, and my mother was from White Plains, and that's where I was born.
Oh, okay. So you're like a fighter. So you're a badass. You're tough. Yeah.
I have thick skin.
Okay. So what were you like growing
I
up?
don't
Like,
like to argue. I don't like to fight, but I
okay.
can handle the punches.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, but what were you like when you were young? I mean, were you kind of like a real good student, real like just good grades, did what you were supposed to do, or were
I
you
was
on the
actually a very good student up until the sixth grade. I was the president of my entire class at the school. And I
Wow.
was telling my son the other day, because he's 9.5 and he has a little bit more challenges in school, that I used to have to study hard. But at the end of the day, when I graduated elementary school, I was the president of my class. I gave all the speeches. I ran a whole campaign to win. And I stayed up for every award on stage to receive every award in every subject. After that, I don't really know what happened.
Okay. All right.
I became
So,
uninspired for a moment through academics, but found myself on the
well, it's interesting. I've been doing this podcast now for, I don't know, 6 years. I've
Uh-huh.
interviewed like over 250
That's
people.
a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing this every single week. Like, I don't
Uh-huh.
remember a week that I've missed in all of these years since like 2018. And
Consistency.
oh yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because what you just said right now is there's so many similarities
Really?
between people that have had a little bit of success.
Hmm.
And I just noticed that, you know, I mean, academics were not always the strong suit of everybody. It was
Hmm.
more of that grit, more of that tenacity, more of that consistency, work ethic, kind of that, mental toughness, I think that
Right, right.
drove people.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so tell me, like, have you always been mentally tough or were you taught to be mentally tough?
Listen, I did not have an easy childhood growing up. My parents were divorced when I was very young. I do not remember the divorce as far as them being together and then us separated, but I did grow up in a divorced family, but I had the best parents in the world. There was never, ever a lack of any love. So I never felt unloved. And oddly enough, I felt the best when I was achieving academic success at a young age. I told my father I wanted to become an attorney and I wanted to defend abused children. And that never happened, but at that young age, I did want that. So, oddly enough, I found myself feeling more confident in the area of academics than I did anywhere else because I always knew that I was intelligent and smart. I didn't feel so confident in my skin. I felt more confident through the work that I did at a
And
young age.
you probably were more happy because I tell people all the time, progress equals happiness. And I think
Sure.
you're probably, as you were studying, as you were working, as you were doing anything that you were making progress, that probably drove you to do more of it because
Mhm.
you were happy doing it and it
Yeah.
made you fulfilled. It made you feel like you were, making your life better.
It makes you feel seen in the school, right? In the peer groups that you have, right? So you could stand out because I was competitive academically at a young age, up until sixth grade. And I felt confident in my ability to achieve that academic success, I felt comfortable in that space more than anywhere else. I didn't feel confident in my skin at that age, at that young age. That took many, many, many years for me
And
to
so what'd you do after high
achieve
school?
that.
Did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to college. I went for art therapy. Now I'm going to tell you my age because I'm 54 as of Friday. So, yeah, and I'm not afraid to say my age. All my friends say, "Oh, don't tell anybody your age." I don't think that that is always the right thing to do, especially for me, because I say to myself, I've lived here 54 years. Thank you, God, right? Thank you, God. Share your experiences, share the journey that you've been on to help others. Maybe one person you can help, then I've already helped somebody and could say, wow, I'm glad my story helped someone. But I just don't think there should be any reservation in sharing my age, especially when you're trying to connect with other people who have been through similar stages of life, right?
Well, I just turned 70, so I feel great. I feel amazing.
Amazing. What are you taking?
I've
Share
never
it.
I've never felt better. And
Share
so
it.
no,
Share your secrets, right?
I love it though. I love that you say that because I just turned 50 and
Mhm. You
I
look
brag all the
amazing.
I brag all the time that
Yeah,
I am biologically 43 though. Just so you
right.
know, I'm biologically 43 because I take care
You
of
look
myself.
37. Come on.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
True.
Appreciate that. No, I was telling somebody the other day, I said, I have never felt better. Like I
Right.
feel like I have more energy. I mean, I eat better. I'm in the best shape of my life. I eat better. I don't drink alcohol, maybe a little
Right.
bit of wine every now and then, but
Right.
other than that, I mean, it's awesome. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I don't do anything like that. And
You
so
make smart choices.
you just make smart choices and it's amazing. I mean, you obviously you show as well. So,
Thank you.
and so like being that successful woman, acting and producing and
Right.
real estate. And I know you've been on SNL and
Yes.
and by the way, Netflix, was it Netflix or Amazon? They just did like an SNL
Oh, yes.
little like
Yes.
short movie. It was really good.
Yes, yes, I have not seen it, but I
Well
have
done.
to say that is how I got my Screen Actors Guild card from SNL. Oddly enough, I did a sketch with Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan and Alec Baldwin, and I'll never forget because I was in acting school and someone told me, submit your headshot because back then we had paper headshots and we did mail-ins and I had a beeper and my beeper went off and I was at the mall and I went and I made the phone call and they said I got cast on SNL as one of the girls for the Roxbury sketch.
Oh
And
my
that
God.
was what gave me my SAG card. So I'm proud of that. I'm sorry anybody could laugh at it. I'm proud of it. That episode was Tina Turner, Howard Stern, Alec Baldwin, now Will Ferrell, and all the others to follow, right? It was a moment that I will never forget because that energy and the icons that were there were just, you know, so notable. You couldn't help but be excited. And I was part of it. So that's a little story I
Oh,
have.
I love it. That's so funny. Well, since we're sharing, I was
Sure.
in Pretty Woman, just so you know. I was
No,
in the movie
really.
Pretty
One of my
Woman.
favorite movies.
I was you have to slow motion though. I was an
Uh-huh.
extra, by the way. You have to slow motion
No
before
shame.
she
That's
spits out
great.
her gum
Okay, I'm gonna
on
look for it.
Rodeo.
Okay.
And so that's my claim to fame. Yeah,
I
I
love
did a
it.
bunch of extra stuff when I was younger, like maybe 14 or something like that.
Very cool.
But
There's no shame in that. I love it.
oh no, it's always fun to tell people because it's like, I was actually sitting next to Julia Roberts and Richard
Exactly. When she
Gere
was
all day long.
18.
How fun is that?
Yeah.
And but did a
Super
bunch of
cool.
Charles in Charges, and you remember
Nice.
Charles in Charge. And so, but anyway, I did all kinds of like, but the reason why I was talking about kind of like your success. I
Hmm.
mean, as a woman, do you feel like you've had to, like, is it harder for a woman or is it easier for a woman? Because we hear different stories on both sides. I mean, what's your take?
Well, it depends who you marry.
All right.
Right? One of the single most important choices in your life is who you marry because then you're combining lives and combining karma and combining thought processes and values. And I don't want to be negative, but my choice for myself was not correct. So I struggled a lot with achieving certain things during that period of time. And when I decided to end the relationship and walk away, that is when I actually felt so much more confident because I didn't have to check in with another person to say, this is what I want to do. This is what I need to do. I just felt more confident in knowing in my heart that I had to follow that to step into who I was meant to be or feel that I was meant to be. And again, Daniel, like I don't think that there's just one thing that any of us do well. I'm sure you do a lot of things well. And I think that we need to recognize that as human beings, all parts of us, right? Like I do real estate because I have a passion for that and design. I love to write movies. I love to create content. I think we have to acknowledge all parts of our creativity and let them breathe. And the only way that you can do that is to give yourself the permission to say, it's okay. I like to do all these things. I don't have to just do one thing.
And so do you think in the marriage, was he holding you back? Was he not supportive in what you
We
were trying
just
to
had
accomplish?
two. Yeah, he'll tell his side and I'll tell mine. It'll be two very different stories, right? But my stepfather told me very young, no entangling alliances until you set yourself up as an individual in order to become happy and safe and stable with another human being. And I didn't do that. I think that I looked for other people to make me happy. And as I became older and life went on, I lost my mother at 30 years old. When I was 30 years old, she was, oh Jesus, she was 53. So she was gone at my age, right? To breast cancer. And I took off 10 years of my life to help take care of my mother. So I didn't even acknowledge myself in that time because I was her primary caretaker. And then my father died a month after I filed for divorce. In front of me, had a massive heart attack. My stepfather went into the hospital with terminal cancer the day that I started filming my first feature, most my first feature film that I executive produced, wrote, and starred in. And there were these two sides, right? This unbelievable achievement, and then I was losing my stepfather, who I love like a father. So, it was always a challenge for me to accommodate what I wanted to do because I always felt life was pulling me in all of these directions. And I had to give myself permission to say it's okay to move forward with things that you want to accomplish creatively, right? Because I always feel like that creative part, that's like people laugh at it. It doesn't hold validity. Nobody makes it in Hollywood. You're daydreaming, get a real job, all of those things. And oddly enough, you have to weed out all those sounds. You have to silence the noise that doesn't resonate with you. And that takes a lot of maturity in order to do that, right? And a lot of confidence in yourself and belief in yourself. And that takes time. And you have to have mentors in your life and a good support system. And you have to have supportive friends who listen to you cry, when you feel like there's no hope. And I've been lucky enough to have a lot of supportive friends, especially going through a divorce, being a single mother, raising my son 90% of the time on my own, being the financial piece all the time. It's not easy. It's not easy, especially at my age. And when do you date? I don't even know. Everybody laughs at me like, are you dating? When would I do that? Tell me when, because I don't even know how to fit that all in. So they better be really, really prepared for the schedule.
It's a heavy schedule. It's a heavy
Yes.
schedule. And so is there kind of like, you talk a little bit about age and,
Hmm.
is there a pressure right now to stay relevant? Is there a pressure right now as a woman that is 54
Hmm.
in Hollywood,
Hmm.
is there a lot of pressure to make sure you look a certain way, you act a certain way, you know whatever you need to do to create whatever you need to create it? You feel that right now? I mean, as a woman in
I do
Hollywood?
not feel any of what you said because I
Okay,
don't allow myself to.
good.
I just don't. We create our own destinies, and we have to remember that every day when wake up, we have a choice on what we're doing, where we're going, how we're thinking, what we're thinking, and how to proceed with our lives, right? I do think that it's smart to try to implement a plan, and with that, I think that you will achieve a certain amount of success if you stay within that plan and if you have solid leads and where to go and do a lot of research and just be relentless in your pursuit of what it is you want to achieve
So do you feel like is it like a daily thing that you do? Is it
daily.
once? Okay, so it's daily. So daily, do you write down your goals every day? Do you have like,
I
you
have
know,
journals.
you have
I have
journals and
journals.
things like
Yeah,
that?
I
Okay.
have journals. I do have goals. I do have to stick to a schedule because I tend to veer off because life happens, right? Especially with a 9-year old, going to be 10 years old, right? And I'm the primary caretaker and he's got all of his activities. So as a single working mother, I also have a challenge of am I doing enough for him? And I am I offering enough activities to him? Am I introducing him to enough things to make him understand that he has choices in life? So I have to balance that too and then fit all the other stuff in, which is okay because he's in school, right? From 8 to 2:30. So I try to get everything done in between. And then I have some friends that help me out, or I get a babysitter to fit in things. But thank God the industry has changed and it does support independent artists and it helps creators create independently where you do not have to depend on the system anymore. I mean, when I was coming up, it was impossible to get an agent. Impossible. Impossible. We didn't have the internet. We were faxing audition sides. It was craziness then. So now all the actors have a much better chance, I would say, or option to express their creativity through content.
Yeah, I get what you're saying because it's interesting. I don't know if you know too much about what I do, but I own a financial services company, and we recruit 200 to 300 people every month in my
Wow.
organization. So we are constantly building relationships and growing the business, and of course we recruit a lot of single mothers,
Hmm.
and we recruit a lot of women. I mean,
Hmm.
matter of fact, I think the organization is 56% women now.
Wow.
And so it's big. It's a big
Hmm.
opportunity for women. But one of the things that I think that what you just said right now is there kind of is a little bit of a mom guilt sometimes,
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
you really are asking yourself, why am I working so hard? Why am I doing so much? Am I providing enough for my child? And I mean, and by the way, we all go through that. I mean, as entrepreneurs, I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years now.
Right.
And, so I got up every single day and didn't have a paycheck. So you
Right.
got to go out and get your paycheck. So
Right.
so my whole life has been about, okay, you're working, you're trying to fit your family in there, you're trying to, take care of your kids, you're trying to make sure that they're taken care of, they have their needs met and all that stuff.
Right.
And so there is a little bit of that mom guilt, dad
Hmm.
guilt sometimes, because you want to be the best that you can be. Because at the end of the day, I think that we can't sit around and live for our kids. Like, I never wanted to be that dad that was living through my child.
Hmm.
I mean, I wanted to be a professional baseball player when I was young, and so I put him into baseball.
Hmm.
And once he said he didn't want to
Smart.
do baseball, I said, okay,
Hmm.
fine, I don't care. I mean, let's
Right.
do something else. I mean, didn't make a difference to me
You gave
because
him
I
the
never
option.
felt like I wanted to live through my child. I wanted them to be excited about whatever they were going to do. And then for me, I wanted to achieve something, because I think the best thing that we could teach our kids is a great work ethic and then being a good human being, I think. And so I
Absolutely.
don't know. What do you think about all that?
I think you did a lot of good things there. I think you're a smart man, and a kind father, I'm sure. I think that, listen, we're not perfect. We're human beings, right? And I think that any opportunity to steal a moment with our kids, to insert good values and faith in them, is an opportunity for us to connect on a spiritual level. And those moments, I believe, they will remember and say, oh, my mother said this or my mother said that. Because every morning I wake up, I said, thank you, God, for another day. And then I have to start with the routine and get him up, get him dressed, get him breakfast, get him his lunch made. And then I walk him to school. And on that 10-minute walk, I instill positive affirmations, spirituality about God, his family, about love, and making sure that he knows how much he's cared for and that he never has to worry about anything because I am doing my best to take care of all his worries. And I just want him to be a child. And I am so attuned to knowing that I have to do that for his well-being. So that process seeps into his subconscious so that he's confident, right? Because I don't want him to walk into that school and ever feel where he is embarrassed or ashamed or not loved or insecure in any way. I want him to remain confident in every step that he takes every day that he wakes up when he's away from me. So I just feel as a single mother that it is so important for me to stay connected to him because if I'm not, then I feel like, oh, I'm missing a step here. I'm missing a step. I'm missing a moment. And he sees how hard I work. He knows what I do. I mean, even with real estate or design, I bring him with me so he sees what I'm doing. He doesn't love it all the time because he wants to, be on his iPad or play a game or something or be in karate or taekwondo. But I just do my best, Daniel. I just do my best and I give it up to all the single parents out there. All the single parents who are doing it basically alone. It is the hardest job in the world.
Well, it sounds like you are a badass parent. I mean,
I'm
well, I mean,
trying.
let's be honest. I mean, yeah, we all, we all do the best we can, but let's be honest. I mean, if you're having conversations like that with your child, God bless you for that,
Thank
because
you.
to me, I mean, I was that dad where I would rock my kids to sleep, when they were,
Right.
1 to 3 or 1 to 5 or whatever. I'd make sure I'd rock them to sleep every single. I read to them a book
Right.
every
Important.
night before they went to bed, like till they were 12 years old, probably. I mean, I
Aw.
did it until they were like, all right, get out of my room, Dad. I
Hmm.
don't want to see you no more. But I remember sticking my son on my shoulders and I'd walk him down the stairs. Then we would look in the mirror and we had a little song that we would sing
Hmm.
together. And I would, just because to me, you're creating
Hmm.
the foundation of the rest of their
Absolutely.
lives. I mean,
Yeah.
you're creating, I mean, imagine those walks that you're having with your son right now and instilling positive ideas and thoughts and beliefs and about God and about, all these wonderful things that, he can achieve and
Hmm.
do great things. Could you imagine if every parent did that? That's the
Yeah.
problem I see in society today. We don't have enough people doing that. We don't have
Right.
enough people talking about positivity and
Hmm.
and being grateful and working hard and staying focused and believing in yourself and all the things that just sound like little cliches, but let's be honest, they're cliches because they're important that we do
Hmm.
those things and we talk about those things with our kids. So God bless you for that. That's badass. I
Thank
mean,
you. Well, it is about gratitude. And one day, I think an incident happened that I was just like, wow. Well, we live in La La Land, right? So there's so many people that have a sense of entitlement. And I had a situation with somebody, and I won't say their name, and they're pretty famous. And I was just blown away by the sense of entitlement. And I said to my son, Andrew, listen to me. Nobody owes you a favor. Nobody owes you a compliment. Nobody owes you money. Nobody owes you anything. You have to live in gratitude every day of your life. So never expect anything from anyone because nobody owes you anything. You have to do it yourself. And it was so profound for me to like come out and say that. But that situation with that individual just blew me away at the sense of entitlement that was so audacious that I had to go and tell my son, because this was a man, right? And I had to tell my son, like, don't think anybody owes you anything because they do not. And I want him to understand that everything is a gift, a compliment, a favor, whatever it is that somebody does to you, a meal, somebody buys you a coffee or a meat, anything is a gift. And I just want him to understand that because I just looked at this guy and I was like, wow, ain't that something? And
Well,
I never want my son to grow up that way.
and the truth is that famous or not, I mean,
Right.
that's really the downfall of America is the
Mm-hmm.
entitlement,
Mm-hmm.
and that everybody's walking around going, "You owe me something. You have to
Mm-hmm.
give me something," And I'm going like, "Wait a minute. Like, where did people learn that? Like, where did we get to this point where, I mean,
Sad.
I started in business at 21 years old, and I knew that if it was going to be, it was going to be up to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was me that got up
Nice.
at
I
six
like
o'clock
that.
in the morning. At 21 years old, I said, I'm getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to bed at 11 o'clock at night, 12
Right.
o'clock at night. I'm going to be the first one there. I'm going to be the last one to leave. I'm going to do it first. I'm going to be the leader. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
show everybody what it looks like. I'm going to tell
Right.
everybody, let's go. I'm not going to tell everybody, I'm never going to tell anybody to do something that I have not done or I'm not willing to go do right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to lead the way. And if
Right.
everybody got up every day and said, "Hey, look, man, I ain't owed anything. I'm going to go
Mm-hmm.
to," and even like a job, right? You're not owed a job. I mean,
Right.
people walk around, they go into their office, they don't do. I mean, imagine in the real life, what's going on
Right.
in the world right now. All these government employees, like sixty
God.
thousand of them, they don't even show up to the job,
No,
and they're like
they're
they're
getting paid.
entitled to get paid. Why are
Mm-hmm.
you entitled? Why? I mean, you're my employee, by the way, because I pay a
Mm-hmm.
lot of money in taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you entitled to a paycheck when you don't even show up to the job? I have to show up to my job to get
Right.
paid. Why don't you
Right.
have to show up to your job to get paid? And it's like now they're all crying, and that they're getting fired because go Elon Musk, man.
Yes.
He's just knocking people out
Yes.
left and right,
Yes.
man. But it's showing the world that, like, we're done with that. The
Mm-hmm.
entitlement mentality is over. Let's get
Mm-hmm.
back to work. We're Americans, man. We're badasses. Let's get back to work. We're the greatest country in the world. Let's get back to work. Let's get focused. Let's go build an amazing nation for our children, because we're
Amen.
killing it right now. We're killing our country if we're not have instilling certain principles,
Absolutely.
the likes of the ones that you're just talking about right now.
I just try to keep God at the forefront of my brain every day when I'm making decisions. And I was telling a friend recently, I said, listen, God is here. And if I have to make a decision, it has to be what is right, not what is wrong, even if it doesn't benefit me. And there have been many times that I had to do the right thing and I was in a losing position, but I have to sleep at night, right, Daniel? I have to sleep at night, right? I have a son. I don't want him to ever gain my karma because of something I did wrong or to someone intentionally. I try never to do that. I try to be the best person I can, and I am not perfect. I've done a lot of things I am not happy about. And in situations like going through my divorce, it was ugly. It wasn't pleasant. I wish I was equipped to have the communication skills when divorcing. I didn't, but I don't know if that became because my father died in front of me, like right in the middle of it. I don't know if it was because I didn't have a mother to go to. And I mean, and I'm old enough to go through it myself, but no matter how old you are, you still need your parents in some situations, I think, right? Someone to say,
Oh,
"Hey,
for
am I doing
sure.
the right thing?" Right? And divorce is a life-changing thing, right? They say death, moving, divorce, those are life-changing things. And I've gone through all of them in a very short period of time. And I have learned a lot about myself and how to move forward in a more practical way and try to control emotions and reactions because we have control of that. We can't control anybody else.
And so looking back in the divorce, I mean,
Hmm.
is there anything that you would have done differently? I mean, what would you have done differently? How would you advise somebody, or even in marriage? I mean, you've been through that relationship, you made it through that, and and what changes would you have made? What would you have altered if you could go back 20 years or 10 years or back to that moment? What would you have changed, or what would be different?
Listen, I think that you really have to sit down with the person that you're intending to marry to see if your values match. When we start dating, it's all about the chemistry and the honeymoon phase. And yeah, let's get married, especially when you're young, right? As you're older, you probably not as much. You'll be more careful. But I think that if your values don't align, then they don't align and you shouldn't get married. And I didn't understand that when I met my former husband that our values didn't align because it'll never sustain a healthy relationship if your values don't align. We're completely different people. And I would say to any woman in my predicament that I was in, just don't be afraid to say you want out. I was scared. I didn't know how to get out. I was terrified, to be honest. And I didn't know how to use my voice. I didn't know how to communicate that I wanted out because I was stuck in a cycle, right? You're stuck in that cycle. You have to seek a support system to get out of the cycle in order to get out. I think there probably are divorce coaches out there, right? To help you get out of the divorce, get out of the marriage to start the divorce, right? I didn't know how to sit down with him and say, listen, I want to file for divorce. I just went and did it more or less. I mean, we were constantly fighting, right? And I would say I want a divorce, I want a divorce. But when I did it, I just had my father fly in from Virginia Beach at the time, and he came with me and I filed. And I probably shouldn't have done it that way, but at the same time, I was under so much pressure and I didn't have the skill set to do it the way in hindsight I would have done it.
Powerful. I mean, powerful. Thanks for sharing that, by the way,
Yeah.
because I know this is, I mean, not an easy thing to talk about,
No, it's not the fun stuff.
it's not the fun stuff, and so we're going to get to the fun stuff now. So tell me, what is it like to work with like Will Ferrell, or what is it like to be, well, okay, what are the well, first of all, I want to ask this, right? Because a lot of people know you, and been in front of people for a lot of people, long time,
Mhm.
and you have a huge following on social media, and like what are some misconceptions about you that maybe people don't know?
I don't know. Do you want to tell me?
I don't know. I don't. You got to tell me.
What are they? What are the misconceptions? I don't really know. I don't really know. I don't hear any of that, right? I don't hear any of that. I don't really pay attention to any of that. I don't really have any issues with many people other than maybe my ex-husband
Okay.
because we share a
So
child.
let me ask you this. Okay, so Hollywood, because you know Hollywood better than somebody like me. I'm not really connected so
Yeah,
much in Hollywood. And I live out, 50 miles from Hollywood. And
looks pretty
so
nice there.
it's a good place. I like
Okay.
this is my front yard right here, by the way. So
Beautiful.
so no, like what are some of the misconceptions about Hollywood, or what is some of the, what's something that a lot of us don't know about Hollywood? I mean, is it smoke and mirrors? Is it a lot of bullshit? Is it a lot of like, do people really make money there? I mean, is it just like tell us some
Hmm.
secrets about Hollywood.
Where do I start with that one? Well, listen, I came out here, right? But I've been was acting for a long time, making independent films for a long time. Also, I was a real estate investor in New York, and I have properties there that I rent out. And those are my two passions, real estate and entertainment. And the real estate afforded me to pursue my creativity, right? To pursue the acting, to pursue movie producing or content creation. And when I came out to California, I got my real estate license in 2007. And I said, God, I really don't know that many people, but I know that I could get to meet them through real estate because everybody needs a home, right? So, and out here, it's a lot different because you kind of live among the stars, right? So they're your neighbors, you see them at the grocery store, maybe local events. And that's how I developed a lot of my Hollywood relationships was through real estate. Either I became their broker, I sold them a house, I sold their house or rented them a place. And I developed those relationships over a 20-year period. So now those relationships are not only valuable in real estate, but also in the industry because I have worked with some of those people or we have collaborated together on projects. And listen, I'm from New York. I think I'm pretty tough, to be honest. I think that I have a really tough skin. I've been through a lot. Nothing in New York has taught me a lesson quite the same way as LA has with the people that are here. I have been through so many difficult experiences here with people because they are complete frauds. I have been robbed. I have been attacked in Glendale a few years ago. People borrow money, they never pay it back, like close friends. Close friends have done some really awful things. And these are well-known people, people of notoriety, and I'm just shocked. And everything here, you have to understand, you have to do your due diligence. And most people out here are not who they say they are, right? There are a lot of celebrities that I've met who are dead broke. And it would shock you because you would never think at the career that they have no money, but they don't. They're struggling
They
because
should have read Wealth on the Beach, by the way. If they would have read Wealth on the Beach, I'll send you a copy. So if they would have read Wealth on the Beach, they would have had more money.
yeah, well, they
Seriously.
don't invest right. They think it never ends, their childhood, maybe supported them because they were childhood stars and then they became, adults and then they didn't know how to spend their money wisely or save it or invest it or they squandered it in some way. But, I as a realtor, I see their finances. So it's surprising, right? So you see all the details of their lives when you're doing transactions with them in real estate. And it's interesting to see how a lot of them live or where they get their money from. And I
No,
can't give any
it's crazy.
secrets, but yeah.
I
Or
was
who
just having
pays
this.
for their rent.
Yeah, I was
I
just having this conversation, and I was saying that because I was a little bit different than you growing up. I was a bad boy. I mean,
uh-huh.
I was the kid that got into fights and in trouble at school and bad grades and messing around with drugs and alcohol. By the way, I actually just wrote my second book, and it's not out yet, but it'll be coming out real
Nice.
soon, probably at the end of this month, and it's called Wealth on the Beach for Teens.
Wow.
So your son, so when that comes out, I'll get you
Yes,
that one. That'd be great
amazing.
for your son to read.
I would love that.
But I wrote this because I want kids to start learning about money now, right?
Yeah.
Don't learn when you're 30 and it's
No,
already like you just screwed up everything, right? Why not get retired by the time you're 30? Like I
exactly.
did. I was financially free at 28 years old. So
Amazing.
why not
Mhm.
learn about money while you're young? But I was telling somebody that I was one of the bad kids. And of course, you're always scared of your teachers, and your teachers look so successful and they're just, they have so much power over the little kids and they do this and do that and be like me and teachers. And then you end up getting older. And of course, I'm in financial services. So I would sit down with these teachers and I used to do group presentations with teachers and I would set up individual appointments with them and do their analyses and I'd find out that
Right.
they were broke. They
Mhm.
knew nothing. And I
Yes.
see that in even people in Hollywood, people, they idolize these people.
I wish I could give you names.
I know exactly. But
I wish I could
all
give
you
you.
have to do, is Google it.
Yeah.
And now we know people's net worths for the most
Yes.
part. You know
Yeah.
people's net worths now, and it's just wild. You see this person, and there's this famous rapper or this famous sports star or whatever, and you're going, oh my God, they've been working for 20 years, and their net worth is $1 million, and you're
Yeah.
going, how does that even happen? Their net worth is $578,000 or whatever, and you're like,
Right. Right.
how did you have a career and that's it? Doesn't make any sense.
Zero sense. But when you see how they live above their means, they're driving,
That's it.
exotic cars, or they're trading the car in every other month, or they're, wearing tons of jewelry or expensive clothes. You see, they're just not managing it properly. I am writing a book called Financial Infidelity. Be careful who you give your heart to.
Wow. Okay. So tell me about that. So what's this gonna, what
So I'm
is
in
that gonna
the
be about?
process.
Is that like, does that come from a lot of trauma here? Am I sensing trauma and
Listen,
writing
I
a
don't want
book
to call
about?
it trauma. I just want to say, don't do it. Don't give your money away to the wrong person.
Uh,
That's all I
believe
have
it.
to say.
I believe it. Okay. So give me a little more flavor to what you're talking about. What's this book about?
So it's basically about when you're in love with someone, right? It's like they have access to you, right? They have access to your emotions, your heart, your lifestyle, your secrets, everything, and your money sometimes, right? And I'm not somebody who really, I don't want to say cares about money, but I don't really care about money that way. And I was always giving in my relationships financially, in more than one relationship, just say. And the last one that I had burned me so badly. I had to take a look at myself and say, why was I doing this? Why was I being unfaithful to myself financially? So that's basically what it's about for women more or less who are always getting caught up with these men that you feel like you have to support or mother or make fix their lives, stuff like that. They were financially unfaithful because they used it or squandered it or didn't pay it back or whatever that was. But in the end of the day, at the end of the day, Daniel, I was unfaithful to myself. So that's really what it was about because I was not a good steward of my own money, right? As it says in the Bible, be a good steward of your own money. And now I am because I only have one man to take care of, and that's my son. Anytime I have money, it goes in his savings account. So I have learned a really valuable lesson, and I want to share that with women. It's okay, you know, to keep what's yours on the side and not give it away to them just because you love them or they tell you they love you. Because don't take this the wrong way. I just know now that if a man doesn't invest in you financially, they will walk away so much easier.
Well, I think that I mean this is just very strange because it's kind of and I don't know if it's just society today, and now you got a lot
Yeah.
more successful women that
Hmm.
have their own money.
Hmm.
But I mean this is news to me because usually I would say the man is supposed to
Supposed
take
to.
care and support and protect and secure
Supposed.
and all that. I mean,
Your
I was
mama
telling.
raised you right. That's what that.
Well, I was telling my team, I said, look, I was I was planning for my family and my children before they were even born.
Right.
I mean, I already knew that I wanted to be financially independent young because if I was young, then I could play with them, I could attend all their games, I always took care of my health because I wanted to be the dad to go on the roller coasters and I didn't want to be some fat ass guy that couldn't fit in the
Right.
dang seat. So I always
Right.
took care of I wanted to be running out there. I wanted to play soccer with them and baseball, and I wanted to throw the ball around and do all the things that
Right.
a dad is supposed to do. That's what a dad is supposed to do. But at the same time, what was kind of cool about my experience raising my kids is that not only was I that as well, but I was also present a lot because, I mean, although I did work, I scheduled everything to
Amazing.
make sure that I could also take care of all the responsibilities as a father. I still took care of my kids all the time. Still picked them up from school, like,
We're an active participant.
40% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was an active participant in their life. I mean, which is good and bad sometimes. I mean, there's, I look back, I was having a conversation. I actually got interviewed on a podcast the other day with a guy, and this dad, he was a brutal dad. This guy was hardcore. I mean, he was pretty rich. I mean, he had like 13 cars and he had all these, whatever. I mean, this guy was, obviously had some success in his life, and God bless him for that. That's wonderful. I love capitalism. I love everybody has an opportunity to do great. But he was such a hardcore dad. I was just like, there's no way,
Mhm.
I wasn't that hardcore on my kids, and trying to replicate this hardcoreness
Mhm.
in me, because I've always been hardcore. I worked hard. I let it,
Yeah.
I gave it everything I had. But I also, know that all of us are different. My son is different than me. He's not going to be a duplication of me. And it doesn't matter how much I tell him to be like me, he's not going to be like me.
Right.
So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create the best him as
Sure.
possible, right? And same thing goes with my daughter. My daughter is, she's in San Diego State now, and she does her own thing, but she's going to be her own person. And
Amazing.
this guy was so hardcore that, yelling at his kids and making them do this and that. And I just like, I was like, I don't know if I want to be that either. But again, there's a balance, right? Because now my kids are older. Now, if I'm tough with them on certain things, it's like, maybe I hurt their feelings now and stuff like that, because they were kind of raised
Yeah.
in privilege their whole life. They were raised well, and so there is maybe a little bit of balance. So I did good and I did bad. I did the best I could. So that's all you can do, right?
Incredible. I love it.
I did want to ask you this because when we were talking about the people in Hollywood, and there's I know who, I know some of these people that you're talking about, and I know who these people are, and I understand what you're saying, and I just wonder, like, is it just like that lack of God in these people's lives? I mean, because truthfully, if you think about it, I mean, Hollywood's been trying to shed religion and shed God from its screens for as long as I could remember.
Yeah, it's
So maybe could that be a little piece of what's happening over there?
I agree. Yes, it does have an impact on how people conduct their relationships for sure. And I think that having a lack of faith and respecting that there is a God helps diminish your conscience because if you have zero conscience, you have zero God. And there have been things that I have been privy to seeing or being the recipient of that are just astoundingly wrong in so many ways from notable people that the only thing I can think of is that there is no conscience. And yet, in the same breath, they'll say they're Christian, they believe in God, they have Bibles, blah, blah, blah. But their actions are opposite of all of that. That's just something they hide behind. So you have to weed out who the true believers are and who the ones that are just using God and hiding behind God. So listen, we have to be protective of our hearts and our minds and our well-being as the same for our children. And you have to find those people who respect your faith, right? And respect you as a human being.
I wonder what's going to happen with Mel Gibson, Mark Wahlberg collaboration. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I'm so happy about it. I'm so happy about it. Look, I have met Mark. I know a lot of people that work with Mark. A friend of mine, her ex-husband was one of the biggest independent producers in Hollywood at the time. And I kind of laughed because he employed all the middle-aged white guys that were actors like De Niro, Pacino, they're seniors now, but Gibson, Willis, Wahlberg, all of them, Travolta. And I just used to laugh because he just continued to do these movies, independent movies, with these same actors because I think like the studios were not hiring them for a good bit of time, right? So we'll see. Look, they're talented. I'm colorblind. I don't see people for color. Human beings are human beings. I want everybody to win. I want everybody to be healthy and well and positive. And we're always going to be up against some agenda somewhere along the line. And I don't know what that is, but I just would like to see that God is present in our everyday lives and it's not continually trying to be removed. But that's what the devil does, right? The devil dances where he feels he could sneak in and change our perspective.
Yeah, it's I think it's going to be a great collaboration. I think there's going to be a new Hollywood. I think that,
Yes.
and I think people are ready for that. I think, well, I mean, look at politics. I mean, people were ready for Trump to step in. I mean, they were ready. I mean, people overwhelmingly voted for this guy, whether you like him or not. I don't know your politics, but whether
Right.
you like him or not, the dude is getting shit done. I mean,
Right. He
it's like
is.
every day, it's like something,
The boss.
eh, what's that?
He's a boss. He's a
Yeah, he's a
leader.
boss, right? I mean, and
You
even
know,
people
he
in New
doesn't
York.
take
I mean, even he's like
no.
got a lot of people in New York that they love this dude. I
Right.
mean, a lot of hearts are changing around the country because I think finally there somebody came in that said, I'm going to do what they're actually doing what they said they were going to do. And I
Right.
think, and then a guy like Elon Musk coming in with Doge and saying, all right, enough is enough. This is bullshit.
Right.
We're tired of our tax dollars. I mean, come on, let's be honest, man. Us in California, especially, we're
Right.
paying way too much in taxes. I mean,
Way too much.
Newsom just wasted, I don't know, $20 billion on homelessness or 5 billion on homelessness or something like that. And then that's not changed. And then this road to nowhere, this, rail that we were supposed to get, and, all these billions of dollars and
Listen,
nothing.
what he did with the water situation and the
Yeah.
fire situation, and uh, I mean, I was here in Los Angeles and we had a fire down the street. And my son and I were actually in Lahaina when it burnt down. We were in Lahaina on the day of his birthday. So I have a little bit of PTSD. So I actually packed up and left here and went down to Manhattan Beach. But, he had the opportunity years ago to fix issues with the forest and cleaning up the forest and doing the water system that Trump, suggested he did and didn't do it. And why was the reservoir empty? Because it wasn't fixed. Why wasn't it fixed? Why wasn't all the equipment fixed? Why was there no water in the fire hydrants? I don't know. It's sad. It's really sad because it could have been prevented. And people lost lives. They lost their homes. Their lives have been damaged in a way that it'll never repair itself. And it could have been prevented. And it's really very sad. So hopefully there'll be some good changes. I'm glad he came here. I'm glad he talked to Newsom. And look, I don't really care about parties. I just want somebody to do the right thing, because at the end of the day, we're all people and we all have to survive. And I just would like people to do the right thing in any party because that's what you should be doing in a leadership position, in a government position, right? You're a servant for the people. So why aren't we doing what's best for the people? Not lining our pockets, not deferring, right? Just fix the problems. Let's get together and fix the problems.
Yeah, I mean, but the only way that the problems are going to be fixed, honestly, is you have to install new leadership. And
Sure.
that's why Elon Musk is such a brilliant guy. I mean, he really is the Edison of our day.
Yeah.
This guy's a brilliant, brilliant man. He has nothing to gain. I mean, to me, the richest
Doesn't
man in
need
the
anymore.
world. Yeah, I mean, think about it. He's the richest man in the world, and he's sleeping on the floor inside some government building
Mhm.
because he's trying to fix America. America is obviously broken, so he's ran the numbers because he's
Mhm.
got all these smart guys that know how to do algorithms and do really complicated math. And he goes, okay, well, we're going to run out of money if we keep doing this. We're going to run out of money. We can't. I mean, eventually this thing is going to crumble. It might be 50 years, it might be 100 years, but the truth is, America is going to be gone. It's going
Right.
away. It's not,
Right.
and I want my grandkids
Of
to
course.
be Americans, and I don't want to have, some other country come and take us over one day. And I think that it's people like him that are brave. I mean, could you imagine being Donald Trump right now? You're like one of the most hated men in the world. People want to kill you from everywhere. I mean, imagine what a
He
badass
doesn't
guy.
have to do this. He
He
doesn't
doesn't have
have
to
to
do
do this.
it. There's no way.
Just fine.
I mean, I could play golf every day. I could lay out at the beach every day. I could enjoy life every day. But he's doing it because he truly, I mean, to me, again, I think the hand of God is on him. There's no question about it. I mean, he almost got killed, and then you're thinking, and then you get up, and then you still do it again.
Yeah.
Like that is complete. You're a brave MFer with there's no question about it. And I respect people like that because I feel like, you know what, our country was founded by a lot of really badass people
Right.
that said, I am sick and tired of something and said, I'm going to change it. And I think that if we all felt that way to say, you know what, enough is enough, man. We know that there's corruption, right? What do they say about conspiracy theories, right? The only difference is like a couple of months, you know,
Right.
and it's because it's like all of these things that we thought were bullshit. How many Starbucks I was thrown out of in 2020, because I wouldn't wear my mask and I didn't want to conform to this
Yeah.
total ridiculous hypocrisy. I mean, you're closing down all these businesses, but then you're leaving open Costco. I don't understand. You can't pick one over the other and have all these, it's a terrible situation led by some people that are totally absolutely corrupt. And
I
so
personally, I think I get myself in trouble, but
be brave.
it's interesting because we had Trump, right? And he sort of was an apprentice during those 4 years, right? And then we had Biden, and I think that he sat back and watched and studied really well. And now he's here again. And that's why his plan of action is so quick, because he had those 4 years to study and the 4 years before where he apprenticed. So stepping into the seat was real comfortable now. And now he's unafraid of what he has to do. So I think, in a way, those 4 years that he wasn't in office was a great time for him to educate himself and sit back and watch what it was that he has to do now. And that's why he's doing it so quickly.
Yeah, it's pretty miraculous. I mean, a couple of weeks and so many things have been done. So yeah, you're
He knows
absolutely
his
right.
life is threatened. He knows his life is threatened. He said, everybody's saying, "Oh, you don't have to do it." No, 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 I have to do it now, because every minute he's being threatened. His life is being threatened. And I'm sure he has orders for whatever, God forbid of anything, but God willing, he has himself protected pretty good. But I think that those 4 years, he really studied what he had to do for now, right? For the win now.
I think it's wild because in 2017 and 2020, people were afraid to talk about Trump. Like if you
Oh,
talk about Trump, you're just this crazy conspiracy theorist, and you're like weirdo or something. And
yeah.
and now it's like it's so accepted now. And I
Mhm.
think and that's why I said be brave, because we all got to be
That's
brave.
more
Because
accepted, I think.
because yeah, he's more accepted because I think people are getting sick and tired, man. Because look, we're paying too much. I mean, the I was sharing this with somebody the other day. Uh, you know, we became Americans
Yeah.
because of a 1% tax on tea.
Mhm.
That's why, in essence, that's
Right.
why we, represent no representation and no taxation without representation. And so we as these young 30-year-old kids, that's what the founding fathers were at the time. These young kids, they said, enough is enough. We're not going to do it. And then all of a sudden, so we just fall in line like a bunch of sheep, we just fall in line and we just do what we're told because somebody at the top told us to do it. Instead of saying, wait a minute, let's look at this and let's be logical about this. And is this fair? Is this right? Is this okay? Before we just jump in and do something, I think we as Americans now have the ability, because now we've seen a lot of different sides and a lot of different things, and go, well, wait a minute, we can't just leave open the border. I mean, if you're okay with leaving open the border, you're basically saying you're okay with sex trafficking. You're saying it's okay that people are being abused. You're saying it's okay for there possibly terrorists to sneak into America. So you can't say it's okay to leave open the border and say you want America to be protected and safe. You
Right.
can't have both,
And we're not. We're not protected and safe. because of, everything that's going on. They're letting everybody in. Look, my grandparents came here on Ellis Island. They came here legally, and everybody should have the opportunity to come here legally. We just want, I would think, to keep out the harmful people, the people who have ill intent, the people who don't want to come here legally. And I understand there's financial things, but there can be some financial aid for the people who want to come here legally. I just know that I want to be safe walking down the street in Los Angeles with my 9-year old, right? And I don't feel safe. I don't. I was attacked in Glendale in a store. I was robbed in a store. I don't feel safe. And you know what? That girl's walking around. She's an 8-time felon and she's walking the streets. And what she stole, I will never get back. It was not insured. And nobody did anything about it. They didn't care. And she's connected to a murderer who she has the child with. Do you think I feel safe in Glendale, of all places, walking around the street? I mean, why wouldn't I? I should, but I don't anymore because of what happened. And the system let her out. She's walking the streets. I found out that she violated bail. Oh, there's nothing we can do, they said, unless she gets pulled over for a traffic ticket. What? That's the city I'm living in. It's crazy to me
And
that you
imagine,
can get away
imagine
with
how
that.
much taxes you're paying, Anna.
I
I
mean,
mean, think about how much tax you pay
I
to
don't want,
California.
please don't.
No, no. I mean, think about it, right? You're paying sales taxes. We pay the most sales taxes than anybody. So you buy a car, you got to give them an extra 10% on a
Right,
car. I mean,
right,
it's like, it's
right,
unbelievable the things that we pay, property taxes through
right.
the roof.
Right. All my
And
properties are in New York, thank God, but they're
that's
not
good. Well, but
here.
how's the
No,
property taxes in New York? How
they're
are
they're
they?
high too. They're high. I
They're
mean,
high. Yeah,
they're very, very high. I mean, listen,
it's wild.
cannot get away with a dollar without paying taxes, right? So,
Right.
which is
So
it's okay
it,
if it's reasonable, but it's like being gouged.
yeah, and it's not fair. I mean, it's like I live in a gated community and I pay a lot of money in homeowners and all that kind of stuff. And, I expect to be safe.
Yes.
I expect there to be cars driving around. I expect there to be, we have a security guy at the front gate and all that stuff. And so I know, like I leave open my door. I mean, my door is open. I mean,
Right.
it's like I just walk out, my side door is always open
Right.
because I feel safe in my community. I feel safe in this neighborhood. I never worry about my safety here because there's cars driving around. There's, the private security company driving around all day long. They don't let anybody in without a license plate and all that. Now, granted, somebody could hop a fence, probably get in if they really want to. But look, at the end of the day, if I pay you money, I expect to be protected. That's
Right.
your only job as my government, California. That's your only job. Keep me safe, man. That's all I want from you. I don't, you don't worry. I'm gonna learn how to do my business. I'm gonna make money. I'm gonna provide for myself. I'm not a victim. I don't,
Right.
I'm not gonna cry to you because I don't have something, whatever. I, all I want you to do is when I walk down the street, I want to be safe with my family. That's it.
Right.
That's your
I agree.
job.
I agree with
And
you.
I'm paying you a lot of money to do that. More money, like a dramatic amount more money than any other state that we can be in. And so that's not right. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that. But the truth is, there's a lot of you out there. There's a
Yeah.
lot of you that are
I would
going through
share
it.
off camera like details, but
Yeah.
it's just it's an ongoing thing because I'm going to file a claim and stuff like that. But it's just and the irony is that this girl had a getaway car and they never arrested the girl driving the getaway car. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I said to the cops, "You never arrested the girl driving the car? She's an accomplice."
Right.
That makes, oh, we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah. Laws are not, and that was kind of, I mean, think about it for a second. I mean, just while we're on this subject in California, I mean, you could literally walk into a store
Right.
and steal up to $900 and
Right.
nobody gets arrested, nobody gets in
Right.
trouble. You're going to still, like, who made up that law?
I don't
Who made
know.
up
It's
that rule?
somebody very foolish.
Where,
Yeah.
where, how does that person even have a job? How is everybody in California? And again,
Passes that law? Who passed? Who
who
says, yeah,
passed that?
that's
Exactly.
cool.
Who said okay to that? And so and that's why I feel so bad for all these people in the Palisades and all these, people, oh, they're rich houses, all the, no, 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 wait a minute. A lot of these people are business owners. A lot of these people are, have created a lot of value for a lot of people in California. That's why they're rich. A
Right.
lot of these people, have saved their whole lives for those houses with those beautiful views and all that, and then you're going, wait a minute, they deserve more, they pay the most taxes, they pay the most property taxes, they pay the most, the highest cost. I mean, you go to a coffee shop in Hollywood, and what does it cost you? $10 for
I
a
was,
coffee now. I mean, it's like
I
crazy.
was at a hotel, it was $15. I mean, it was just like, where am I? This
Yeah,
is insane.
doesn't even make any sense anymore, but so, yeah, but we do this, and then we rationalize it, and we go, well, we have the best weather everywhere, it's all great. But then you go, and then these people lose their houses to fire that should have been avoided.
Could have
I,
been.
I
Could
could
have
have
been.
been
Could
avoided,
have
should
been.
have and could have, and it's bullshit. I think honestly, if I were to say, and this, this video, when we watch this 10 years from now, we're probably going to know, or probably in 3 months, we're going to know that it's a land grab. They're starting now, buy these properties, buy this. You probably know this. What's your thoughts on that, by the way? Is that a conspiracy or could it be real?
Oh, no. Listen, I was in Lahaina, so I was in those fires. I was in Lahaina on the day that we all had to evacuate and the fires went crazy. And there was no preparedness. There was zero preparedness. And why was there no preparedness? It just makes no sense why that would happen. And I think the same thing happened here, I think that with knowing that all of these insurance companies canceled the policies for these homeowners months ago, and then they cut the budget for repairing the fire engines, repairing the equipments. I mean, that is complete and utter negligence. How does that line up with taking care of us? It doesn't. You can't take $17 million away off the budget and not supply the firefighters with the equipment that they need in this state. That doesn't even make sense. Why was there no water? Why? Because it seems as though, doesn't it?
So what was, I don't know if you know anything about this, but I'm not even sure about it. But was there something about like the houses with the blue roofs that didn't get burned? Like Oprah Winfrey's house did not burn down. What is it about that?
I've
Or
read
do you know
about that.
anything about that at all?
I've
Or
read about
okay,
it.
all right,
I've read
okay.
about it, that the houses with the blue roofs don't will not be touched. So I don't know. Maybe we have to paint our houses
So
blue.
so but
I don't know. I
but
don't know.
you
Enough.
as a real estate
Yeah.
person, is that a thing? Like, is land grabbing a thing? And could that be a potential reason why there was no
Look,
preparedness?
anything is possible, right? There's always behind the scenes in Hollywood, right? Motivation, right? So, what contractor wouldn't go in this condition and offer the families something, the homeowners something for their land because the property is in distress. So, a lot of people don't want to go back because they feel unsafe. They're devastated emotionally. They don't want to go through the rebuild. And then you have other families that are wealthy enough to buy another home and then rebuild and take the time that it needs, right? So it just really depends on the financial situation that you're in. Can you withstand the rebuild process? I have a couple of celebrity clients that are actors, and one said, "Is in Altadena." He said, "I'm going to rebuild and be stronger than I've ever been before." He's devastated because he bought the house 22 years ago or something like that, and he wanted it for his children. He raised his children there, and he's going to rebuild. But then you have a lot of people, I think, that are really afraid to go back to the devastation because how long is it going to take to rebuild the town of Palisades? I mean, how long? And the city of Malibu there and the coastline. It's going to take a very long time. It would have taken longer, I believe, if Trump wasn't president because he's streamlining everything. streamlining the process and the permits. But I think you have to have really thick skin. We'll go back to that to withstand the devastation of what they experienced. Their whole lives were burned down in a matter of minutes. So, do they want to go back to that? I don't know, but it is a extreme financial opportunity for developers to go in and take over the property because what do they care? Their hearts and lives aren't there. It's just a business deal for them, and they have unlimited funds. So, what is it going to take for you to walk away? And you know what? They may just walk away because they just don't want to face the devastation. They don't want to face the rebuild. It's a process that'll take over their lives. So, if you scare enough people away, then you can get what you want.
Right. Yeah, it's a sad situation. I wish we had more time to talk
Yeah.
more about all that. And look, I mean, we'll definitely get back together and we'll share some more stories because I
Yeah,
feel
make
like
sure you
we just
watch
didn't have, we
Maurice and Anna. Make sure you watch us. We're on Connect TV, all 15 episodes with
oh nuts.
partner Maurice Bernard, three-time Emmy-winning soap star and mental health advocate. Amazing. And now we're on YouTube. We just went to YouTube and we're getting some good traction. And I see it as a Regis and Kathy Lee type of show because our families are intertwined and it's a funny makeup because he's been married for 36 years to the same woman, and I'm divorced, and I keep telling him he's got to find me someone. He's failed immensely so far, but we have a brother-sister relationship, and we have great chemistry, and it's a fun show. And you've seen him like you've never seen him before on this show because he's fun and light, not like his dark character on General Hospital. I just appreciate him so much and his wife for giving me this opportunity. I went to them with the idea of the show, and they were on board because we have a great relationship, and I just love them so much. Paul and Maurice are just tremendous human beings. So there are good people in the industry, I will tell you, and those are two of them. And then I have a couple of other partners, producing partners that have been in the industry for years that I'm currently writing a Christmas project for one of either Hallmark or Lifetime. My other movie's on Amazon called Maternal Sin. So if you want to buy that and help support and watch it, it's a thriller, indie film. Don't ever give up on your dreams. Take your career into your own hands, right? Don't let anybody say no to you. Just keep pursuing. I give an example that I was at a restaurant one day, and I'm just going to tell you this real quick because I know you want to go. They told me there was no reservations on Easter at where was I? In a restaurant in Burbank at Castaway. And I said, "There's no reservations available? No, we don't have seats. It's Easter. You didn't make a reservation." I said, "No, I didn't, but I can guarantee you someone will not show up. So you could give me their seat." And they said, "Well, we don't know how long it's going to take. I can't guarantee you." 2 minutes later, a table opened up. So just affirm your belief system and know that opportunities and doors open and never give up on your dreams because we're not too old and it's not too late.
I love that. What a way to. Okay, all right. So how do we get a hold of you? People are going to want to follow you. People are going to want to connect with you. People are going to ask you questions. You're
Oh,
going to get
thank you.
your DMs are going to blow up. Everybody
Okay.
is going to say, "Hey, I saw you on Daniel Alonzo's Wealth on
I
the
can't
Beach
wait.
podcast, and we love you, Anna." And so yeah, so tell us how to get connected.
I mean, the easiest way is at Anna Demergis on Instagram, or annademergis.com, on Facebook. You could get me at any of those locations. And I look forward to talking to you again. You're doing an amazing show here. Congratulations. I love it. Doing positive things. And I think that we all need to empower each other, female, male, children, seniors. We all have to continue to empower, educate, and empathize with each other because we're only here for a really short time and we have to make it great.
I love it. What a great way to close it. Hey, everybody, just make sure, do me a huge favor and reach out to Anna. Just tell her how amazing she is. And just, please support, everybody that comes on my show, support them some way, somehow. Go buy a movie, go buy a book, go, say hello, even if it's just a thank you. Just remember, it doesn't matter how successful somebody is. It's always nice because we're human beings. We always love when somebody says, hey, great job. We appreciate what you're doing. We appreciate, you bringing some positive energy to the world. And that's exactly what she is doing. So make her feel heard and seen as well. And I want you guys to always remember that, you got to dream bigger than ever. You have to decide right now in your life that you're not going to stay small, that, just like Anna said, life's too short, man. Step up to the plate, dream bigger than ever, get after it, right? So what does that mean? That means working hard. That means, doing what you said you were going to do. That means living with some courage. Have some courage to say what you need to say, to do what you need to do, to stay focused, to be determined, to have, some dang guts in your life, and to get after it once and for all. Whether it be, a lot of you guys are small entrepreneurs, a lot of you guys are in business, business owners, you are the person that's going to make the difference and the change in your family's life. You're not going to be waiting around for somebody to do it for you. It's going to be you. You're going to be the change maker in your life. So get after it. And then, most importantly, do it now. Have that mantra in your life where you get up in the morning, you don't feel like getting out of bed, just say, do it now. Program your mind, your subconscious, everything. Program yourself to say, do it now, and then get after it. Don't lie to yourself. Don't put it off. No more excuses, no more making up stories, no more, poor me and all that bullshit. You know what I'm talking about. It's time for you to do it now. And with that said, I love you guys. Dream bigger than ever. Get after it. Most importantly, do it now. And God bless you. We'll see you at the top.